Zoey was still on the phone with her mother when Blaine's arms wrapped around her waist possessively. "Mom, look, bottom line, my blind date was an obnoxious jerk, and Aunt Shelley should have known not to set us up in the first place. I'll tell you all the details when I get home. Is that okay?" Zoey then quickly disconnected the call. Zoey heaved a sigh of relief when she realized that her mother hadn't seemed to notice anything unusual during their call. Zoey was a little surprised when she saw the serious expression on Blaine's face. She sighed and pouted. "I can't possibly tell my mom that you were one of the two men who helped me." "Why? Am I the devil or a woman-chasing monster?" Blaine's dark eyes glimmered. Zoey hesitated for a moment but finally told him the truth. "She told us to stay away from you." Hearing Zoey's explanation, Blaine raised his eyebrows. She thought he was going to say something in reply, but after a pause, he just said, "I'm hungry." It was clear to Zoey that Blaine was unhappy to hear that her mother didn't approve of him. He was just trying to hide his discomfort. No one liked to hear that someone didn't like them, but then again, this was Blaine. After taking a deep breath, she said, "I hope, that no third person knows what's going on between us, especially Sophia and my family." Zoey's voice grew softer as she finished speaking. Blaine didn't reply. After a long moment of awkward silence, Zoey heard him chuckle. He leaned over her slightly flustered face, raised his eyebrows, and said with a smile, "You mean you want me to agree to have a clandestine affair with you? Is that what you're saying?" The smile on Blaine's face did not reach his eyes. Zoey bit her lips and didn't respond. "Yes or no?" Blaine asked her again, and his tone became even colder. Zoey took a deep breath and nodded. "Yes." He rewarded Zoey with a single word: leave. Blaine walked out of the dining room, into the study, and slammed the door behind him. Zoey sat alone at the dining table, staring blankly at the study door Blaine had just slammed in her face. She didn't understand why Blaine was so angry. Zoey had remained silent when he'd presented his humiliating list of mistress rules to her, yet somehow, this still had made him angry. Unbelievable! Beginning to think Blaine didn't plan on coming out to talk to her, and too embarrassed to disturb him, Zoey decided to leave. She went in search of her clothes. When she checked the laundry room, she discovered that he had thrown her clothes into the washing machine. Great. Zoey sighed and walked out of the laundry room, feeling depressed. She curled up on the sofa and buried her head in her knees. She was stuck here until her clothes were washed and dried, and since it was now past midnight, it looked like she wouldn't be going home until morning. It was almost 2 a.m. when Blaine finally finished organizing the research paper he needed to submit in 2 days. He'd buried himself in work to distract himself from thoughts of the woman in the other room. Standing up, he shut his laptop and walked out of the study. Blaine went straight to the bedroom. When he saw the empty bed, he frowned. He turned around and walked back into the hall. As soon as he entered the living room, he saw Zoey, who had curled herself up into a ball and fallen asleep on the couch. Blaine walked over and bent down to pick her up. He stretched out his arm and wrapped one of his arms around Zoey's waist, while the other wrapped around her knees. He then carried her easily into the bedroom. After entering the bedroom, Blaine carefully placed her on the bed. As soon as Zoey felt the bed under her, she unconsciously hugged the soft blanket before tossing and turning several times to get comfortable. Finally, she tucked the blanket between her legs and sighed happily. Blaine watched her helplessly with a smile. Sighing, Blaine still let Zoey sleep. Even though he desperately wanted her, he had tortured her enough tonight. That night, she slept soundly. She didn't think she had slept so peacefully in 4 years. Zoey hadn't expected that their relationship would suddenly turn into this. Although she had imagined what becoming his mistress might be like, she hadn't expected the warmth between them. She had missed their connection. She couldn't deny it, no matter how hard she tried. But what if she was pregnant? Where would they go from here? Should she let go and let him return to his path? Zoey didn't know if she could let go a second time.
Will Zoey repeat her past mistake? Will Blaine get away with his behavior all the time? Hi, Zoey here. If you are wondering what happens next, then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Rekindled Heartache now.